It came in so fast, and my house is completely submerged. I mean, you can't even see it from the photographs. It's completely gone.
Everything they built just gone in record flooding that's now moving its way right down the middle of the U.S. We continue our Flood Watch 2011 with stories from up and down the mighty Mississippi. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Mickle. From Memphis to New Orleans, all eyes are on the Mississippi River tonight. Tonight we take you to the communities already underwater and those ramping up for the worst. We start in Memphis. The Mississippi River crested there a couple of days ago, but low-lying neighborhoods are still completely covered with water. Officials estimate the damage in Memphis is more than $300 million. But one lifelong resident says this is nothing compared to what he saw back in 1937. That year, the river set an all-time record, cresting just above 48 feet.
This is a far cry from that. I mean, I know that it's flooded, and I know that's terrible, but it was even worse in those days than it is here today.
Experts say it could take weeks until river levels drop below flood stage. The crest has moved downriver into Mississippi, where the president has issued a disaster declaration. Many river towns there are just devastated. Take a look at Tunica, which looks like a ghost town now. Many people were forced to evacuate after their homes and businesses were submerged in water. Casinos in the region are closed for business, and as a result, governments are expected to lose $12 to $13 million in taxes per month. The shutdown also affecting some 13,000 employees who are now out of work. Across the river in Poinsett County, Arkansas, people are still busy filling sandbags and building temporary levees despite reaching the crest. The river isn't going down anytime soon. People there and all along the river could be underwater for a couple of weeks.
We're just prepared for the long haul. We don't have water here for a long time.
The crest is making its way to Vicksburg, Mississippi, where people are bracing for even worse flooding to come. Many who live there fear the nearby Blackwater levee could break, sending floodwaters flowing over, destroying their homes. Despite reassurances from the Corps of Engineers, many are moving to higher ground as the river continues to rise. We head a bit further downriver now, where a decision has to be made to save some communities should others be destroyed. That's the quandary in Morgan City. The Army Corps of Engineers is considering opening the Morganza Spillway this weekend to ease the flooding in Baton Rouge and New Orleans. But if officials open it, cities like Morgan City could see up to 20 feet of water. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal has this warning.
My advice to our people is act as if the Corps is going to open the spillway. The best thing to do is to be prepared as if that decision was coming, and that way I don't want people waiting. I don't want them to hesitate about whether they need to make evacuation plans or move their valuables or build these levees.
Across the river in New Orleans, they're waiting to see how high it will rise. The crest is expected to hit there in around a couple of weeks. Officials are ready to close the floodgates in the Crescent City, still dealing with Hurricane Katrina's aftermath if the water gets too high. A small town in the heartland is cleaning up after being hit with some really wicked weather. Multiple tornadoes struck Lenox in southwestern Iowa late yesterday afternoon. Homes and trailers were heavily damaged on the town's west side.
This is like a movie. It's like something you see in a movie. It's not even real life. It's so unbelievable.
Fortunately, no one there was hurt. Now to the pain at the pump and the effects on planes, trains, and automobiles. First, what we're paying to fill up our cars. Prices for regular unleaded has gone up 2 cents from yesterday. It's now $3.98 per gallon. This debunks analyst predictions last week that prices would drop a couple of cents every day. Meanwhile, today lawmakers are grilling oil company execs on Capitol Hill. We'll have more on that for you tomorrow. Higher gas prices have made riding the train more popular. Here you see New Mexico's Rail Runner that goes from Albuquerque to Santa Fe. Last month, ridership on that train shot up 14% compared to the same time last year. Last year, just over 10 billion public transit trips were logged nationwide. That, too, is expected to go up this year. Well, a comfortable flight at a good price. It's what those of you who fly want, but many aren't getting. Amanda Decker has the results of a recent survey.
Thanks to higher fuel prices, we're paying more to fly these days, and that's not making travelers happy. In fact, a recent Consumer Report survey shows many travelers say they've cut back on flying because of the new added baggage fees during or after check-ins. Consumer Reports also ranked airlines for overall satisfaction. U.S. Air came in last. A U.S. Airways spokesman questions the methodology of the survey and points out a 70% improvement in baggage delivery since 2007. Southwest Airlines topped the rankings for overall satisfaction. JetBlue Airways came in second. Both airlines also scored highest in seat comfort. I'm Amanda Decker reporting.
Well, Mickey and Goofy really want you to come visit them. Jenny Wurzberger tells us why in tonight's Back to Business.
Not all is happy in the land of Disney. It turned a disappointing profit report, sending shares down 2%. The animated film Mars Needs Moms cost about 5 times more to make than it brought in ticket sales. Also, Disney's theme park business fell 3% last quarter. Tokyo's Disney Resort was closed temporarily after the tsunami and earthquake. And Toyota took a big hit in profits from the disaster in Japan. The automaker reports a loss of $1.3 billion from costs associated with the earthquake and tsunami. Toyota says it won't make any prediction on how it will perform in the next 12 months. The company expects production to be slowed down for some time, but says it should start to get back on track next month. The Queen of England bought an iPad 2. Queen Elizabeth is 85 years old and was so impressed with her grandsons William and Harry's devices, she asked her staff to buy her own. For Back to Business, I'm Jenny Wurzberger.
Busted. The FBI finally makes an arrest in one of the biggest robberies in U.S. history. They caught up with this man, 65-year-old fugitive Norberto Gonzalez Claudio in Puerto Rico. He's charged in the 1983 armed robbery of a Wells Fargo truck in Connecticut, netting $7 million. The stolen money reportedly funded Claudio's militant group, considered a terrorist group by the U.S. government. Claudio and 16 other members of that terrorist group are charged in the robbery. Well, it's nearly time to vote 2012, and tonight there's one more Republican running for the White House. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich made it official yesterday on his website and on Twitter. Gingrich says his experience with President Ronald Reagan and in Congress makes him qualified for the title of Commander-in-Chief.
As Speaker of the House, I work to reform welfare, to balance the budget, to control spending, to cut taxes, to create economic growth. Unemployment came down from 5.6% to under 4%. And for 4 years, we balanced the budget and paid off $405 billion in debt. We've done it before. We can do it again.
Gingrich is only the third Republican contender to announce that he will run. Former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney and Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty have both taken the initial steps toward a White House run in 2012 by setting up exploratory committees. Well, evangelist Billy Graham remains hospitalized with pneumonia. The 92-year-old was admitted to an Asheville, North Carolina hospital where doctors say he is now resting comfortably. The Reverend's grandson says he's feeling better and is in good health and spirits.
He is in good health and good spirits, but certainly for somebody that's 92 years of age with all the health concerns that he has and all the mileage, all the years on him, I would say he's doing pretty well, and we're just keeping an eye on him.
Graham's age-related conditions, such as hearing loss, have kept him at his home in recent years. Well, people in one country are very rattled tonight. Coming up, where a rare earthquake hit, what was damaged, and when this last happened. Plus, a unique way to offer support to earthquake and tsunami victims in Japan with support garments. And we all could use a little help around the house. Fixing It with Dee does just that. Tonight, bringing your lamps back to life. That's still to come. And we want to remind you, INN News is on Facebook. Now you can also find us on Twitter at INN News Network. And we're on YouTube, reaching out to you so you can reach out to us. INN News is coming right back.
Good evening, I'm INN meteorologist Ed Russo. Several areas across the country are seeing some strong thunderstorms today. Right now, it's across South Texas, severe thunderstorm watch here. A nice Boeing line segment of showers and thunderstorms, oftentimes on radar that indicates some very strong straight line winds. So expect some stronger storms to move over the Houston area over the next hour or so. And as we go towards the north, some severe thunderstorm watches in place for Wisconsin. Haven't seen any real thunderstorms blossom yet, but that will be happening soon. And even some stronger thunderstorms over Ohio and West Virginia as well. and all of this energy is being supplied by a larger upper-level low circulation. You can see it's very broad, spinning over the northern plains here. Just some general rain across South Dakota, but even some showers, some snow showers still across Colorado, even Denver, seeing a couple flakes in the area suburbs. Severe weather risk today runs all the way from Iowa, Nebraska, south through Texas and extreme northwestern Louisiana, another little pocket across Wisconsin in through Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. Tomorrow, the severe weather threat sort of consolidates to one area, namely the deep south all the way up through the Ohio Valley, and then transitions to Georgia, eastern Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida as we go through Saturday. Radar across the southeast right now, though, is quiet. We're not seeing any showers or thunderstorms whatsoever, but significant record-setting flooding across Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana. A lot of the crests have already been hit across Missouri. Now the flood threat is becoming extremely severe and dire across Arkansas along the Mississippi River and Louisiana along the Mississippi River. So the Mississippi border and the Louisiana border are going to be seeing some very, very high water as we go over the next couple days, all through next week. Most likely going to be one of the biggest news stories of the week. So hopefully that problem fixes itself very, very shortly. Those areas, actually central Louisiana does need the rain. All of that flooding is coming from areas that have had so persistent rain across the Missouri Valley and mid-Mississippi Valley. West Coast, pretty quiet, a couple showers across Washington, and towards the south, it's pretty dry across California, Arizona, and Nevada. But again, there's some of those snowflakes flying across the Denver area and some of the mountains, the Rocky Mountains of northern Colorado. Lows tonight pretty mild to the east of the Mississippi River. That's where we have that front yet to pass. That's also where we have the severe weather threat today. 69 tonight in Houston, 66 in Little Rock, 36 tonight in Fargo, so really cooling down behind that front. Look at Denver, 32 degrees, but they're seeing some flakes today, so they're not really warming up at all. 45 for tonight in Seattle, and a nice comfortable 60 in Los Angeles. Look at Miami, baking overnight at 75 degrees. And your highs tomorrow still warm out across east, but behind that upper level low, look at that colder air that's being brought down from the north. Only 50 in Fargo for tomorrow, but nice warm 68, comfortable 68 in Chicago, and a hot 92 in Houston. Mike?
The panic-stricken moments after two earthquakes struck Spain is caught on tape. Here are images from the ancient town of Lorca where double quakes killed at least 10 people. Pieces of historic churches fell to the ground, houses collapsed, and cars were crushed. Shaken neighbors gathered in the town square, fearful of returning to their homes. Earthquakes are rare in Spain. The last one was recorded in 1997. Global news now. Humanitarian workers in Haiti are preparing for a fresh cholera outbreak as the rainy season begins. The cholera epidemic in Haiti happened after last year's deadly earthquake, which killed more than 300,000 people. Since October, the disease has killed nearly 5,000 people. The epidemic is not expected to regain the force of previous months. However, aid workers report fresh outbreaks underline the vulnerability of much of the population in that nation. Forget bottles. This message is in a bra. Triumph International Japan has unveiled their newest lingerie line that's supporting more than just curves. It shows messages of support sent from all over the world after Japan's massive earthquake and tsunami 2 months ago. The set consists of a corset bra top and a skirt with handwritten notes. Well, not all boots were made for walking. Some are made for promoting movies. Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek having some fun in Cannes. They are promoting their new animated feature, Puss in Boots. It's based on a character from the hugely popular Shrek franchise. It's one of the first flicks to open the 64th Annual Film Festival. Puss in Boots is scheduled for release this November, and that's your Global News Now. On to bed bugs now. They're just gross. And now new research shows they may also be germy. We have that, and the shots just keep coming, even when you're an adult. What vaccines we should be getting, coming up in Your Health. Well, as parents certainly know, getting vaccinations for your children is often a top priority, but are adults forgetting they also need to take precautions? Dr. Malika Marshall explains the importance of protecting ourselves.
As parents, we make sure our kids get all the necessary vaccinations, but are you aware that there are some that we as grown-ups need too? Throughout your adult life, you need to get certain immunizations to maintain your health. In fact, there are several vaccines that adults should consider getting to immediately protect themselves from disease. These are determined by factors such as age, lifestyle, high-risk conditions, and previous immunizations. According to the CDC, far too few adults in the U.S. are being vaccinated against serious and even deadly diseases, including the flu, pneumonia, shingles, tetanus, and hepatitis B. Even if you received a whooping cough or mumps, measles, rubella shot as a child, you may need to get them again to assure your protection. The good news is that by getting these vaccinations, you can protect yourself from contracting and potentially spreading these diseases to your loved ones. So whether you're a young adult, middle-aged parent, or a senior citizen, make sure you get the proper shots to keep these preventable diseases away. I'm Dr. Malika Marshall.
Oyster lovers, listen up. The FDA warns not to eat oysters coming from Apalachicola Bay. The FDA says the shellfish may be contaminated with cholera. That's an infection of the small intestine. 8 people have gotten sick from eating raw or lightly steamed oysters. The shellfish caught between March 21st and April 6th were distributed to several states in the South. Well, just the thought of bed bugs can make a person's skin crawl. Now, Canadian researchers find the pests are able to carry 2 types of drug-resistant bacteria. Researchers tested 5 bed bugs collected from 3 hospital patients in British Columbia. They found the bugs carrying MRSA and another bacteria known as VRE. Researchers are still looking into whether people can catch bacteria from those bugs. Well, the thought of bed bugs may be scary enough for you to sleep with your light on, but what if your bedside lamp is broken? Well, you don't need to buy a new one. Fixing It with Dee gets us out of the dark when it comes to home improvement. That's coming up next. Thrift stores are full of lamps we've given away because we don't know how to fix them. In tonight's Fixing It with Dee, Dee Armstrong shows us how you can fix your old lamps by simply replacing the ceramic socket.
Most of the time, the problem is either going to be in the cord or the switch. And in most basic lamps, it's really easy to replace them. And it might be the socket. So, Will, how do I know that it might be the socket?
Well, generally the socket, if you see in black around it inside, is arcing, so it's bad.
So this one was screwed in, and you took the screws loose from
Right.
inside the socket.
From inside the socket.
Okay. Took the screws from inside the socket, pulled it out of the actual stand.
I fed more cord into it. Generally the cord,
Oh, you feed the cord in, yes.
so I can pull the cord out. Generally it's got screws on it if you don't have one that's pre-wired, and you can take it loose that way.
Okay. Now, do I have to be careful about which connects to which?
Not really, because both sides of these cords are going to look just alike. you know.
Okay. Okay. So both sides of the cords look just alike.
Right.
And you want the wires touching each other and twisted.
Right.
So that there's a current.
And
going
I would probably cut this off a little bit shorter if I was going to wire this one in, but that's all you have to do to it is put the wire nut on it then.
Put the wire nut. And then put them back in, push this back inside.
Right.
Okay.
And
so this
it will generally screw right into your fitting inside then.
Okay. So we get that back in there, then we screw it back on.
Then you screw your screws back into it. And I'm just going to do that. There you go.
Okay. The good thing about fixing a lamp is that the parts are very inexpensive and it doesn't take a lot of skill to fix it.
I'm Dee Armstrong reporting.
Well, the heat has many of us looking for a great deal on air conditioning units. We're going to take you to one more store where you'll get more bang for your buck. Coming up next on INN. Well, as the weather gets warmer, many of us are thinking about buying air conditioners. But a giveaway at a Plant City, Florida AC store has some people hot under the collar. The owners of United Electrical Systems have a deal. Buy a unit, get a gun. A Remington Model 870 12-gauge shotgun for free with the installation of a brand new air conditioning system.
I'm not in this to make a political statement. I'm not in this to promote the NRA. I'm not in this to do anything but promote my business.
I don't think a shotgun is something people need. You know, how about a grocery store gift certificate or, you know, Target, Walmart?
Now, those who participate in the deal must pass a background check. I'm Mike Mickle. From all of us here at INN, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow.